Welcome, this is Rivkah with Treasures of Glory. I'll be sharing about the follow-up appointments for the Treasured Wellness 365 consultations. If you missed the video about quantum clearing for the first Treasured Wellness 365 consultation, you can watch that video for more detailed information. The link is in the description box below. Today I'm going to talk about the importance of muscle testing nutrient levels and muscle testing supplements. After the first time appointment to clear the body of quantum toxins and pathogens, it's important to make sure that nutrient levels are at optimal levels and that products are not causing hormone or neurotransmitter disruption or causing any system disruption. My focus at Treasures of Glory is on the whole person, spirit, soul, and body. The topic today addresses the wellness of the human body. It is written in 1 Thessalonians 5:23-24. Now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. He who calls you is faithful, who will also do it. If you're interested in resources for ministering to the human spirit or soul, please visit my website at treasuresofglory.com. The link is in the description box below. Disclaimer: nothing that is said in this video or on the Treasures of Glory website or in any Treasured Wellness 365 consultation is meant to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any disease. Anything said in this video, on the website, or in any consultation is not to be taken as medical or mental advice. Always seek the advice of a medical professional for any health or mental questions or concerns you may have. Do not stop taking any prescriptions without consulting your physician. And never take what is said here over the advice of a medical professional. So after the initial appointment for the quantum clearing, there are 4 follow-up type of appointments, and one of them includes nutrient scans. And a lot of times this goes with the product testing that we'll be talking about momentarily. But it's important to have proper nutrient levels for the body in order to heal, repair, and build. And through muscle testing, nutrient levels can also be tested to see if they're optimal levels. I do talk about how the nutrient levels work in my previous video on my testimonial. I'll also have that in the description box below. But it is important because if the body does not have the proper nutrient levels, it just will not heal. And a lot of times I'll have clients come, or even for myself, if I'm not feeling well, I can notice something that's happening and I'll test my nutrients. And if it's only a nutrient, if that's the only thing that's going on, I can take that nutrient that my body is needing at that time, and usually within 30 to 45 minutes I'm feeling better. And again, that is only, that is something that happens, but it doesn't happen that way all the time because there could be other reasons. And that's why I also have follow-up appointments that are for the cleansing healing prayers. All right, also it's important for the product testing. It's important to test products and supplements. Many products test detrimental to the body, which may cause hormone, neurotransmitter disruption, or system disruption. Detrimental products may make a person feel sick. Also, detrimental products may keep a person from getting well. And it's important to take note that a person may feel worse after the first appointment from the quantum clearing if the products that are if the products that are being used are detrimental. So it can really cause some not feeling good. So it's important to get products tested. So what types of products are tested? How are products tested? Sorry. 1, you can have products with you at the appointment. 2, you can take a photo of about 5 to 10 products in each picture and email them to me the day before the appointment. You can send multiple pictures if needed. These products must be products that you have touched. So in other words, pictures of products from the internet of a product that you haven't used or touched cannot be used in product testing. How are products tested? 1, you can have the products with you at the appointment. 2, you can take a photo of about 5 to 10 products in each picture and email them to me the day before the appointment. You can send multiple pictures if needed. So these products must be products that you've touched. In other words, pictures of products from the internet of a product that you haven't used or touched cannot be used in product testing. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about nutrient levels and supplements as they go hand in hand with each other. In addition, I have my business partner with me, and we're going to talk about this. I am a Shaklee independent distributor, and so I have my Shaklee business partner with me. And we're going to be talking about products and nutrients from Shackley, but I do want you to know that I work with my clients to be able to pick the products that work best for them. And hopefully what we want you to get from this is the quality of Shackley products so that you can know what you're working with and thinking about when looking at other nutrients and other products as well. So I have with me April. So April, thank you for joining me today to talk about the importance of quality nutritional supplements. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so excited that we can share about what Shackley does, and also so that people can know what they can use and what they can think about when looking at nutritional supplements.
Yeah, definitely.
So after the initial appointment, like I said, it's important to have the scan to make sure nutrients are at optimal levels. So I check the levels of basic nutrients, which are typically covered in a multivitamin. And we're going to talk about multivitamins in a moment. But first, I would like, if you would please, April, explain to us about the Shackley difference. How is Shackley different? And how is the information here important also for people as they look for nutritional supplements?
Yeah, absolutely. So Shackley is a health and wellness company, and they have a variety of products, including supplements, personal care, skincare, and green cleaning products. So Dr. Shackley, who started Shackley years ago, back in 1956, believed that harnessing nature was one of the best ways to heal your body. And when you're dealing with things in nature, there are some things, right, that we don't have any control over. So it's important to pay attention to how the product is grown, and Shackley is very particular about how their supplements are, how the raw materials are grown. But they also need to be sure that no matter how they're grown, even if they're grown organically, things in nature can happen that can contaminate that product, right? Like the farmer down the road may not be doing organic farming, and the wind could blow those chemicals over to the organic farmer. So it's important to be sure that raw materials are tested. So you can be sure that with Shackley that our products are safe. We do 350 tests against harmful contaminants. And we make sure that we test the product with the raw material when it comes in, during manufacturing and after manufacturing as well, because things can happen throughout that whole process. So it's super important that things are tested along the way for contaminants. Also, the FDA does not regulate supplements, so that's something to think about as well. You want to be sure that what is listed on the label is definitely the product in the bottle, and that may not always be the case. So Shackley guarantees that what is on the label is in the bottle and in its most purest form. And if you have questions about the science behind any supplement that you pick up in a grocery store or nutritional store, you should be able to call that company and ask them for the science behind that product, and ask them what kind of testing goes on, and they should be able to answer it. So no matter what brand you use, it's important that you do the research behind it and make sure that that product is safe and that what is on the label is actually in the bottle. Shackley is proven, so we have over 100 plus patents and published scientific peer-reviewed papers, and it's not really easy to get into those types of scientific journals, the peer-reviewed ones. We power Olympic athletes. We have 146 gold, silver, and bronze medals from the games. And Olympic athletes are told not to take supplements in general because of the fact that what is on the label may not be what is in the product. And they are drug tested at the most random of times. And so they could be taking a supplement thinking it's perfectly fine, but it could be tainted with an illegal substance that the Olympic Committee will not allow. So there are quite a few Shackley, or quite a few Olympians that use Shackley products. They're not paid to use them. They choose to use the products because they know that when they take them, they're going to be able to be pure supplements that's just going to help power them. And then all of our products are 100% guaranteed. So if there is something, I mean, not every product is right for every person. So if there is something that you would order and wouldn't like about the product, you can return it, no questions asked, for 100% of your money back. And there's no time frame on that. It's not a 30-day money back guarantee or a 60-day money back guarantee. It's just if you use up the product or you take one of the products and you decide this isn't for me, you can then return the product for your money back.
Thank you, April. This is so wonderful. I love how you talk about these different points, because when I'm working with clients, there are so many times, you're talking about how Shaklee is checking, all the organic, and, it's based, because Shaklee has like the beyond organic, mindset. And a lot of times that when I'm testing clients' food or supplements, and it'll say organic on it, and sometimes the organic ones test worse than ones that are not organic.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. It's like, wait, I just paid this extra money for this organic salad and it's testing bad. Like,
right,
what?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, it's just really important to, because sometimes you don't necessarily know. And also, the fact that, there are times too with products that are claimed to be good products and that people trust. And I'll test them and they will test bad. And like, how is that? I'm like, well, and like you said, the process, there are so many different things along the process. So even if the company gets a good sourcing, but if the manufacturing isn't right or there's something along the way, it can cause a lot of problems. And any one little thing in the supplement can really make somebody not feel good. And the 100% guarantee is really, I have so many clients, they're like, you know how much money I paid for this item and it tests detrimental? And
right,
like,
exactly. And that's frustrating. Yeah.
It is. They're like, this was an expensive one and I can't take it back.
Yeah.
And with all this stuff right now, we're like about 5 or 6 months into this COVID-19.
Yeah.
Places that used to do returns aren't doing returns. A lot of them aren't.
Exactly.
But Shaklee is.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Still return with Shaklee. So anyway, I just, want to give people like a little bit of, like, hey, there are still people that are doing returns, but I do get it. I do get like, it's really tough. And people are like, Rivkah, can you make this test well? And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, it's either good or it's not. I'm sorry, you cost a lot of money.
It's not true. And also, Rivkah, if in the process of testing, if something does come up with the raw ingredients or during the manufacturing process with Shaklee, even if it's one of our most popular products that people don't want to be without, which has happened often lately, not because of a quality standard per se, but because so many people are wanting immunity type products. But even if a product is super popular, if something happens where Shaklee is not competent or it fails a test in terms of the raw ingredient, they will take the product off the market until they can source a whole other safe raw material for it. So again, it's in terms of that, it's the safety is no comparison in terms of the amount of money that they are looking to make for something. Shaklee will pull it. If it is not a safe product, then they will absolutely pull it. And it could be off the market for quite a long time until they have a safe product again.
Well, that's really great to know and to have the confidence, and also that Olympic athletes can use this with confidence. So, this is just other things that I just know that when I take it, that I'm not going to be eating something weird or something's going to happen. So I really like that. So why a multivitamin? Well, it's important to include a quality multivitamin as a daily supplement. So high potency multivitamin and multimineral. Every diet, whether keto, vegan, vegetarian, etc., needs to be supplemented in order for the body to receive the macronutrients needed for the daily nutritional intake. Our food just does not have the nutrients in it in order to be able to maintain this. So Shaklee has a Vitally, but there's also a Vitalizer. So I'm going to have April talk to us about why Vitalizer. What does Shackley do with Vitalizer that is important to know about Vitalizer, as well as nutrient supplements if they're looking at another company?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, if you're looking at a place to start, a high quality multivitamin is a great place to start. And that's what Shackley's Vitally is. We have Vitally for men and women. The difference is that the women one has iron in it, because oftentimes women of childbearing age will need the extra iron. But if you want to take it a step further, the Vitalizer from Shackley has a full spectrum of nutrients right there in a convenient strip. So it's a strip that you take once a day. And so what makes Vitalizer so different? So they have a patented smart technology which improves the absorption of key nutrients in the body. What you don't want to happen with your supplements, right, is you don't want to spend the money and take them and just have them pass on through your body without dissolving at all, which unfortunately I think that's the case with a lot of supplements on the market. You take them and your body doesn't have a chance to absorb them in the places it needs them most before you just pass them on through. So Shackley was sure to be sure that each one of the supplements in the Vitalizer strip dissolves in the place where your body needs them most. So starting with the Vitally, which is our multivitamin, it dissolves in less than 30 minutes in the stomach, and is designed to enhance absorption of folic acid. It actually has a folic acid microcoating on it so that your body is able to absorb that really well. So that's really key with a multivitamin, because so oftentimes, you hear the health care profession just say, be careful, because a lot of times your multivitamin won't even be absorbed in your body. Well, you can be sure that the Vitally multivitamin will. And then we have a B and C complex, so it's combined together. And your B and C vitamins are the ones which I know Rivkah knows, they're water soluble. So a lot of times they will pass through your body really quickly. But Shackley has a sustained release vitamin B and C. So it's got a greater absorption of those B vitamins and C's over the 12 hours. It was shown in a clinical study we have. And they want the sustained release delivery of those to the small intestine, because it's going to have the biggest benefit of your body there. Next is our Carota E omegas. So these are your carotenoids, your vitamin E's, and your omegas. So things that are so important for your skin, your nails, your heart health. It's ultra pure omega-3 fatty acids. They're sourced from wild fish from the Alaskan waters. And they're the really small fish, right? Because you want the fish that are able to absorb less mercury in them. And they've got carotenoids and vitamin E, and that's going to be delivered to your upper intestine. And then one of my most favorite products that Shackley has is an Optiflora, which is a pearl probiotic. You need your body to have as much healthy microflora as possible, and you want it to be in your lower intestine, in your gut. And there's so many studies out there, right, Rivkah, showing how important a probiotic can be and the actual health of your gut, especially in terms, your gut controls so much about your health, and even your immunity has a lot to do with the health of your gut.
Yes.
So the problem with the good bacteria that you want is it's extremely fragile. And so Shackley wanted to come out with a probiotic for quite some time before they actually did. But they didn't, because they couldn't figure out a way to have the live probiotic in the product get through the stomach acid, because the stomach acid is a really volatile place, and they wanted to be able to have it survive the stomach acid and get to the large intestine where it was going to have the benefit. There's no sense in taking it if it's killed off in your stomach acid. So you want to look for a product that they might say that it guarantees live bacteria are in the pill itself that you take in the probiotic. But what you want to be sure it says is it guarantees the live delivery of that probiotic to the place where it needs to get to. So Shackley created that with an encapsulation technology that keeps the good bacteria alive, and so they can get released into your large intestine.
Yes, thank you, April. These are so important. In fact, these are the ones that I usually end up talking first with my clients. Do you have
Yeah.
multivitamin? What about B and C? And the thing with the probiotic
Yeah.
is that so many probiotics actually mess up a lot of neurotransmitters. And the thing with probiotic, like you're talking about the gut health, like it is so important. It also has a gut-brain connection. So if you're not doing well in your stomach, because that's also where the serotonin is made, which is a neurotransmitter, which also converts into melatonin. That goes from the stomach up the vagus nerve into the brain. And so if there's a problem with the gut, there's a problem with the whole body and with the brain. So, it's important that that you get uh, probiotics or supplements that are beneficial. Like there are times that like certain things, like say for example, a probiotic, like I can be testing and the probiotic test's detrimental. But the person is saying, but my stomach is feeling better. But I'll say, well, this is testing detrimental and it's messing up your systems or it's messing up your neurotransmitters. And it's a transition to go from thinking, because we're so used to the fact that a lot of prescription medications cause side effects. And we've so gotten into the mindset that that a side effect is just part of the process. Well, with good nutrients, there's a difference between being sensitive to a nutrient or a substance and versus having the product be detrimental to the body. And so what's nice about Shaklee is there's nothing that's going to be detrimental to the body. If your body is sensitive to it, that is a whole different thing than it being detrimental.
Right.
The supplements don't need to be causing detrimental side effects.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I like about Shaklee. But just as I'm saying this too, it's just good to know things because there are certain interactions, there are certain vitamins or certain, especially when you get into herbs, that some of them, especially if they do cause blood thinning, and if you're on blood thinners, there are certain things that you do need to take care of because there can be complications with that. But that's not the same as the product itself being detrimental.
Right, exactly.
Because of processing or toxins or something like that. And I like how you explained all this, April, because not all multivitamins are created equal. And so just because another one has it, there can be such a big difference. So thanks for sharing this as to not just Shaklee, but also how this works for other products as well.
Absolutely.
So I mentioned a few minutes ago that we do not get enough food in or enough micronutrients in our daily intake of food, and we need a supplement. So April, will you please talk about the different foods that go into a vitalizer?
Absolutely. Well, you can see here all of these different foods you can find. Basically, you would have to eat this amount of foods in a day in order to get the nutrients that is in a vitalizer strip. And that's a whole lot. I wouldn't recommend eating 17 bananas in a day. I definitely wouldn't recommend that. So yeah, it's amazing how many of these nutrients are actually in the vitalizer strip. And, scientists talk about how our food supply has been so stripped, right, of the nutrients in our crops that we have. And so many of them are GMO these days. So it's way different. Our food has changed so much. And so the amount of nutrients in our food is so much less than what it used to be, just because the nutrients in our soil and everything have been depleted. So I love this slide because it really gives a good picture of all the nutrients you can get just by taking the vitalizer strip a day.
Yes, it is amazing. I feel so full looking at this,
Yeah,
thinking that you'd have to eat that much food in one day.
Yes. Exactly.
Oh, well, there's so many neat things about the Landmark Health Study that we can learn about Shaklee and about nutrition supplements at the same time. So April, please tell us more about this landmark health study.
Yeah, so the landmark health study was something that was done by the University of California at Berkeley. And Shackley had found out several years ago that the University of California was doing this study on the health of supplement users versus long-term supplement users. So those who've been taking supplements for 20 years or more versus the health of those that did not take supplements. So they wanted to kind of do this health study with that. And Shackley found out they were doing this study and asked them, would it be okay if we threw a third group of people in, and it would be those that have been using Shackley supplements for 20 years or more. And so they agreed to allow Shackley into the study with the understanding that no matter what the findings were, that they were going to be publishing them. So Shackley understood. And my mother is one that has been taking Shackley supplements for over 20 years. So she actually was one of the ones a part of this study. So they did blood draws. And the results of the studies was like absolutely floored the people that were doing the study. And what it came out with was that those that were taking Shackley supplements for 20 years or more had markedly better health than those that were taking other brands of supplements or no supplements at all. And the scary thing is that some people who were taking those that were taking other brands of supplements sometimes had worse health than those that were taking no brands of supplements at all. So it just goes to show you, again, to be super careful with what you are choosing to take so that it's not detrimental to your health. But they found that those that were taking Shackley supplements were taking little to no medication. They had quite a bit lower prescription drug usage. Overall, they rated their health better, lower risk of dementia. So they had lower levels of homocysteine levels, which is an indicator of dementia risk. They had good metabolic health, so a lower prevalence of diabetes compared to non-supplement users. And they had better cardiovascular health, so reduced risk of cardiac arrest based on the omega-3 index, lower triglycerides, and lower ratio of total cholesterol, HDL cholesterol. And then inflammation, right? Inflammation is a huge marker to the health of your body. If you have a lot of inflammation in your body, it can lead to a lot of different problems. So healthier levels of C-reactive protein, and that's what measures systemic inflammation. So all of these results, what was kind of taken from this, if you want to know why they created the Vitalizer, it was because they took kind of the main grouping of supplements that the Shackley users had been using for 20 years or more. So they weren't just using a multivitamin, they were using several different things. So they found out what the Shackley supplement users were taking, and they kind of took all of those things and put them together in the strip together. So that's kind of how Vitalizer was born, was through the actual landmark health study.
This is really interesting, just because some of the stuff that I've learned with the muscle testing and the nutrients, and what I've heard from other supplement people with the studies, it just all comes together, like the majority of like the Vitalizer, the pick of the nutrients for that, as well as it's interesting that it came up in a study, because this comes up with muscle testing all the time, and about if it's a detrimental product, it is worse to take it than to not take anything at all. And so it's just interesting that actually came up in a study. And so, for those of you who are hearing this, like if you're not, like it's better to not take the detrimental ones than to not take anything at all. So although we do know that it's better to take beneficial supplements, so that's where Shackley comes in. That's where muscle testing also comes in if you need some other stuff, and I can help with that. And I do, excuse me, I do have a link to my Shackley website in the description box below. Okay, so some of the vitamins that I am testing, the nutrient levels, these are the ones that I highlight. I do go through more than what I'm going to be talking about, that April and I are going to talk about today. But I also look at, if somebody has a certain health concern, I'll look and test based on vitamin deficiencies that go to that. We can also check that too. One of the things that is super important that I check is the vitamin D3. Vitamin D3, as well as nitric oxide, are the two nutrients that are at the root of nearly every disease in the body. I'm not going to talk about nitric oxide today, but that is something that I do check. But vitamin D3, it's one of the ones that is at the basis of that. So with that, it's one of the reasons why I look at this. But the benefits of vitamin D3 are bone health, may help prevent different bone things like osteoporosis and bone pain, rickets, and fractures. Also, osteopenia. It also helps with cellular health, may help prevent certain cancers such as prostate, pancreatic, breast, ovarian, and colon, may prevent infections in the upper respiratory tract, and may help control asthma and wheezing. Also, organ health may help to prevent heart disease and stroke, type 2 diabetes, periodontitis, and tooth loss. Supports muscle strength and autoimmune health, may help to prevent multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, Crohn's disease, and rheumatoid arthritis. So April, what do you have on vitamin D3 and any testimonials or any insight on this?
I do. And it's interesting because if you look up research articles on vitamin D3, you'll see more and more and more studies coming out about how important vitamin D3 actually is. And is especially relevant right now, I think, is its role in supporting your immune health, for sure. I think people think a lot about the benefits of vitamin C and things like that when it comes to your immunity, because that's the one that's talked about so much in echinacea. But D3 plays a huge role in your immune system health. So I think it's interesting because I feel like I'm constantly hearing of new articles that are out, scientific articles that are supporting the use of vitamin D3 and how important it is. And one thing I love is Shackley just change the dosage of there. So one of the tablets is 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3 in one of the tablets. So I love that. And I have a great family story about vitamin D3. So my uncle on my mom's side, we have a neurological disease that runs in our family called CMT. And sometimes it affects people if they have it. It's a genetic disease, affects them later on in life. For my uncle, it started affecting him as a little boy. So he has had, I can't even tell you the number of surgeries that my uncle has had and some of the complications with the nerves and the bones that come along with that. But several years ago, my uncle had to have surgery where they had to fuse his bones together in his foot and ankle. So he had that surgery done, and no matter what they did, they could not get those bones to fuse together. They refused to lay down healthy bone between the two. So it created a lot of problems. He was actually in a cast trying to get his bones to heal for well over a year, trying to get it to heal. And about this time, Shackley came out with vitamin D3, and his vitamin D levels were okay. They were in quote unquote the normal range. They were just on the lower end of the normal range, but everyone was like, no, they're within normal range. So, but my mom started thinking, and she's like, you know what, it wouldn't hurt to go ahead. My mom's also a retired registered nurse, to go ahead and add more vitamin D3 to my uncle's regimen. So he did. He started adding higher amounts of D3. And it was several months later, he went to the doctor, and as he normally did, and they did another x-ray. And it blew his mind that the bones were finally beginning to fuse together. And the only thing that my uncle did, the only changes that he did was start to add higher amounts of the Shackley vitamin D3 to his regimen. And then that finally allowed him to fuse the bone and he could get out of his cast. So we don't have any proof that that was the case, but that was the only thing that he changed in the middle of it. And then his vitamin D levels rose as well. So it actually, it gave his body the building blocks and the tools to be able to start laying down healthy new bone. So vitamin D3 is a really, really powerful product.
That's a really good example of how vitamin D works. It also highlights the fact that sometimes our body needs additional nutrients when it's in the healing phases. And so that is really amazing to see how vitamin D3 worked on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to share a story about the importance of potency of vitamins and how potency a lot of times can change after a bottle's opened. So I was using vitamin D3, and this was prior to Shackley use of it. And so I have his brand that I liked to get, and I could get it at one of those stores that you can buy in bulk. And it wasn't the store brand, but it was a name brand, and it tested well. I was getting several of their vitamins, and but what I was noticing with those vitamins, one of them, actually two of them, would go bad before I could even finish the bottle. And I was taking it regularly, but specifically vitamin D. What was happening with vitamin D, because what I do when I take my nutrients in the mornings, I test them to see how much is beneficial to take at that time. And so I've done research on vitamin D3, and so I know the range of what would be considered in a good range to take. And so I was taking it, and then after about 2 weeks, it went up a little more. And I thought, okay, well, maybe my body just needs a little extra right now. And then, so I was taking a little more, and then it went up a little more. And I was like, well, it's still in the range of what's safe to take, but this is kind of interesting. And I thought, well, it's still winter, and maybe I just need some more because it's, not having as much sunlight. And then it just kind of kept jumping up, and I ordered another brand that usually tests well historically, and I wanted to try that one. So when I got that one, I was, and then with the current one that I had, I decided, I'm not going to keep taking what my body is, testing to be taking. And so I tested the new bottle of the different brand. And what I was finding was that my testing was showing that I didn't need as much of the new one. So then I thought, well, let me just ask my body how many IUs of vitamin D3 are beneficial to the body at this time. And I found that what it was asking was what the new bottle was. The old bottle, which wasn't actually old, I didn't even have it open for 3 months, and I was almost at the end of it, and it was still a year or two out from the expiration date. But I found that it had lost its potency, and it was losing it at a very high rate. But I also had this with a client too. Found out that what her body was asking for, the vitamin D3 was one thing, but her vitamin D3 did not have the potency at that level. I don't know if it had it at the beginning. Hopefully it did, because hopefully they were, true to their word on what was in it. But the thing with Shackley, and I do this with the Shackley vitamin C a lot just to test, because I use it. But the Shackley vitamins do not lose their potency. Like it'll go to the date at the bottom. I'm confident it will. I just never have something that lasts that long, because I take it within a short amount of time of it being open. So, but yeah, that's something that's really good about the vitamin or the Shackley. And just good to keep in mind that some may test fine, but then they can test detrimental shortly thereafter, or they lose potency. Why a B complex? So this is something too that I recommend highly, as well as, and I also recommended the Shackley B complex on this because it is sustained release, and April talked about that earlier. So we have The vitamin B complex may help support or promote cell health, growth of red blood cells, energy levels, good eyesight, healthy brain function, good digestion, healthy appetite, proper nerve function, hormones and cholesterol production, and cardiovascular health and muscle tone. And as April mentioned before, the vitamin B and vitamin C are both water soluble. So if it's water soluble and it's in a regular capsule or tablet and it dissolves in the body, without it being sustained release, it just dumps into the body all at one time. And if it's not used, it just is eliminated. And so with this, it's sustained over time, so the body can absorb more of it. And April, is there anything about the vitamin B complex that you would like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, something else about your B vitamins is, like we said, they're water soluble, so they can be passed through quickly. They're also one of the first things to be depleted in your body by stress. So when you are highly stressed, your B vitamins are one of the first things to go. And so I think I explain to people, like, your B vitamins can oftentimes be like, think of them as your happy vitamins, right? They can really, your B's being low can also really affect your mood levels. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that, in terms of stress, especially right now, I know so many people are so stressed out about so many things going on in the world. So it's something to keep in mind as well, is your levels of B in your body, because just one more thing that stress can do to you, and that's deplete your B vitamins quickly.
Very good. Yes, absolutely. So why vitamin C? Well, vitamin C is also known as ascorbic acid, is necessary for growth, development, and repair of all body tissues. It's involved in many body functions, including the formation of collagen, absorption of iron, the immune system, wound healing, and the maintenance of cartilage, bones, and teeth. As an antioxidant, vitamin C might help protect your cells against the effects of free radicals, and free radicals might play a role in heart disease, cancer, and other diseases. And so with vitamin C here, I want to talk about, like, the importance of, again, with it being sustained release, and highlight here that it's important for the formation of collagen as well as the absorption of collagen. So one of the things about, collagen helps so much, but also with bone broth, and bone broth is good for your gut health. It helps heal your gut. And with collagen being something that is really on a lot of people's mind, with the importance of taking that, vitamin C needs to be taken with the collagen in order for that to work. And so what I like about sustained release with the collagen is that when I'm drinking my bone broth at some random time during the day, that I don't have to be thinking, did I take my vitamin C? Do I have enough in me right now? I took it for breakfast this morning, but I'm eating this later on in the day. And so I like to be able to also explain to clients who are interested in collagen as well as the vitamin C, that if you have a sustained release and you're taking it the 2 times a day, that it really helps to be able to maintain that. Hey, April, is there anything with vitamin C that you would like to share with us today?
Something that I just wanted to remind people of, because I often forget it too. Like I had mentioned before, I think so many times, when people think of immunity, I think sometimes people only think of taking vitamin C during the winter months, or if they, feel a cold coming on or something like that. But I think so oftentimes we forget that it can do all these other things, or many people may not realize that vitamin C is good for so many other things, such as the fact that it's such a powerful antioxidant. So it's definitely something, like you had mentioned, to keep in mind, and that you want to think about taking more than just in the winter months, which I think, again, is what so many people think of it as. Definitely the boost of vitamin C is great for your immunity, but it has so many other benefits that we forget about, I think, so often.
Yes, and Dr. Stephen Gundry even talks about taking 1,000 milligrams 2 times a day, and he's also talks about it being sustained release. So, that's just kind of interesting information on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, April, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I've loved sharing just some more information with your clients.
Well, you're welcome, and I look forward to having you back again in the future. So I want to thank everybody for listening. For more information regarding the importance of testing contactants for as far as lotions and shampoos and stuff, items that come in contact with your skin, please join me in the next video. Please click the subscribe button below and click like if you like the content in this video. Click the bell if you want to receive notifications for when new videos are posted. If you're ready to schedule a Treasured Wellness 365 consultation, you can schedule an appointment on my scheduler by clicking the link in the description box below. If you would like to order Shakti products, the link to my website is also in the description box. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much. Shalom.